topic. What is the benefit of having that interrupt the live feed of that landing? Please tell me.
I mean, to me, if they know they're under scrutiny, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, they don't care. They don't care. They're under scrutiny. That's the point.
They don't care. You're right, man. Because you know why? Because, dude, like the young Illuminati. Listen, Carlos, like the young Illuminati guys, they're going to be like, man, we're going to cut the camera out again, Dad. And the old Illuminati guys, like the young Illuminati guys, like, man, they're going to catch on, Dad. They're going to catch on, Dad. Man, we keep cutting this camera out. And the old Illuminati guys he's like, don't worry, son. They're that stupid, son. They are that stupid. We could cut it out every day. They'd make excuses for us, son. Don't worry about it. And the young Illuminati's like, really, Dad? They're that stupid? Oh, my God. Yeah, quit worrying, son. They are really that retarded.
Brian, you do realize that you're over here arguing that...
You're really fun here, Lale.
Well, so I reject the idea that the Earth is flat. What evidence do you have that the Earth is flat?
Let me give some evidence, man. Okay, I'm gonna start off with a SR-71 Blackbird, said to be flying at 2,000, almost just under 2,200 miles an hour. They say if it even moved, once they try and go faster than that plane falls apart. Okay, that's the top speed they can hit. I also want to add that is the top speed. That's almost 50 years ago. So our technology has not broken the speed record from 50 years ago, but that's a side note. Okay, now that SR-71, it's going at almost 2,200 miles an hour. So we figured it out to be about a degree a minute, or half a degree, somewhere around in there a minute. But the drop on that, now they're saying that water curves. That's the whole thing going around now, is that water curves. It's a level curve, they call it, and you could look out in the distance with a theodolite and see it curve. Okay, so if you're looking out in the distance and you're seeing that water curve, then you're also going to look out in the distance and have to see that SR-71 curve. Okay, now if that SR-71 is curving, it's going to fall apart. Okay, or it's gonna have to drop an insane amount of altitude every second. It's going to probably have to drop a few hundred feet every second. Now, might be more than that, but what do you think about that, Lale, for starters?
Well, one thing I do think about it is I've heard, and I haven't done much research on this, but I believe that it's a fact, that when they were testing the SR-71 over Russia, and it flew over Russia, by the time the radar picked it up in Moscow, it was already completely across the entire continent of Russia. To the other side of Russia.
Imagine how much it would have had to curve.
So let me finish the statement. If that is true, do you think that a human eye can perceive something moving that fast?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So they had to perceive it to
2,000 miles an hour?
Something had to perceive it to get that speed, right? But if it's doing...
It flew that speed. Do you think your eye can see if a radar...
half mile a second. Yeah, you'd see it for...
all the way across the continent, do you think a human eye would be able to see that airplane flying 2,000 miles an hour?
Yeah, okay. Well, let's do the math. Okay? If we can see... Let's say it's up 50 miles. Okay? 50 miles, if you want to do the 8 inches per mile squared or something like that, and use that as a radius, a viewing radius, then if it's going 2,000 miles an hour, that's around, half a mile a second? So, yeah, we should see it for about, just a rough guess, probably about 15 seconds if it's way up high on a clear day. Don't just jump right past it. Respond to that. Don't just jump right past it. At least respond to what I said, Lale.
And being able to perceive it with the human eye, Brian.
Lale, like I just said, okay, if it's up why did I say 50 miles? I meant to say 50,000 feet. So I stand corrected on that. But if it's up about 50,000 feet and it's moving half a mile a second, we'd see it for at least 50 miles, right? So that would be we'd see it for at least 15 seconds.
Where have to do with it flying at 80,000 feet at 2,000 miles an hour and the human eye being able to perceive that, Brian.
Lale, how fast does the ISS go? Lale, how fast does the ISS go? Lale, how fast does ISS go?
17,500, but
no, but let me finish, okay? It goes 17,500 miles an hour, but we can see it for a record of 9 minutes, usually top of around 8, but it's been seen for as long as 9 minutes. That's almost 2,500 miles. Okay, so you want more proof that they're lying to us about the curvature? It's either a lot less than they're telling us, or it's non-existent. Because
what does that have to do with an SR-71 flying over Russia?
Wanted proof of,
and the radar itself not being able to pick it up until it was on the east side of Russia.
So how do they know they're doing that fast then, Lale? How do they know that speed?
Well, because if it takes that long for the radar to pick it up, the radar gets a...
Well, I thought the radar couldn't pick it up.
How fast it was going.
You just said the radar couldn't pick it up.
It didn't pick it up till it was on the opposite side, east side of Russia.
Gotta pick it up to get the speed, Lale. Okay, you're just not thinking. You're blurting shit out, buddy.
No,
I'm gonna take it easy on you.
I am thinking. It picked, the radar hit a ping. And by the time it received that ping, the plane was already across the other side of Russia. And
okay,
in the time that
let me ask you a question, Lale.
To the time it was on the other side of Russia is a certain amount of time, which let's say is 2 seconds. They can measure. They knew the distance across Russia. The people using the radar, and they could say, well, this was 2 seconds, and they could deduce how fast the plane was going.
Yeah,
by the amount of ping.
They'd have to pick it up. Let me ask you a question. So let's just
pick it up. They picked it up on the opposite side of Russia.
Okay, so if that thing is doing, let's just round it out at 2,000 miles an hour. Okay,
perfect.
Let's see. Okay, if it's going at 2,000 miles an hour and it had, let's say, just plenty of gas, we're not even going to worry about gas. That's another argument. Okay, how long would it take to circumnavigate the globe in a great circle if it's moving at 2,000 miles an hour?
How long would it take to go around the globe?
Yeah, on the equator.
2,000 miles an hour. 12 hours.
Very good.
12 hours.
Okay, so that thing can make it from the North Pole to the South Pole in 6 hours, right? And that's quite a big circle right there, man. And they say that if they even try and go faster, and it's actually less than 6 hours, a little bit, but if they even try and go faster, if they move or try and elevate or descend, that thing falls apart. So it's going around all that curve, and it's just hunky dory. Okay, that thing, when that thing is said, what do you say to that? Like if they say we can see the water bending out in the distance, okay, then we'd also have to see that plane going down in the distance. How does it stay together?
Brian, look, the fact is that the Earth curves at one degree for 69 miles. Now, if you divide that amount into the United States, which is about 3,000 miles.
Yeah, it's about a degree every minute.
You probably get we'll round it off, okay, to 60 miles.
Yeah, well, you can round it off as small as that, Lale.
So we get
Lale, if you're flying east to west, Lale,
50 degrees of curvature across the entire United States.
Lale, if you're in the northern hemisphere and you're like right there, and especially in Russia that high, okay, you do realize the longitude line. Hold on.
Let me get to my point.
The longitude line starts shrinking, right?
Flying 2,000 miles an hour, it flies across the entire United States in 1.2 minutes.
Oh God, I'm gonna give you a break on that one, okay? But no, listen, if we are seeing,
I'm sorry, 1.2 hours.
Yeah, okay, very good. Hey, listen, if we see that water bending down in the distance, like George and Jesse and them claim, we're seeing that water. We're looking at it through a theodolite, and we're seeing curves. So that water is physically bending.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
No, wait. From my height, from my eyesight.
What does that have to do with the blackbird
you're missing
flying
my point,
across
bro.
the United States?
You're missing my point.
At a constant altitude of 35,000 feet.
You're missing my point, bro. My point
I'm not.
that okay, if I'm standing next to Jesse at Kozlowski and I'm standing next to George, and we are. Hold on, let me make my point, brother.
No.
If I'm standing next to Jesse and George, okay, and we're looking through a theodolite, we're looking from eye level, that water is curving down, physically curving down, okay? What, dude? You need to let this sink in instead of being instead of trying to shoot it. Let this sink in for 1 second.
To do with being
If that water's curving down, then that plane is also having to drop down. Besides the degrees, it's going to have to turn. Which, if it turns, it's going to fall apart. I've already told you that. But besides the turning, besides the 1 degree every minute, okay, which would tear it apart, it's also going to have to drop down, okay, quite a bit because that water is dropping down. To stay level with that water, that plane's also going to have to drop down, Lale. Do you think he could drop down at that speed? Give me an honest answer, dude.
Okay, if the plane is at, I'm giving you my honest answer. If the plane is consistently at 35,000 feet, and staying at 35,000 feet, it has no need to curve up or down or left or right. It stays at 35,000 feet.
So it doesn't need to go down with that water off the distance?
It stays at 35,000 feet.
Dude, you're missing my point, man.
Nope, it stays at 35,000 feet is the answer.
That water is curving down.
Nope,
okay?
it stays
Ask Jesse or George, okay?
The plane stays at 35,000 feet, and that's a fact. It doesn't have to go up or down or left or right.
Oh, it doesn't? Wait, whoa. What do you mean it doesn't have to go down? Hold on, that water is going down, right? According to Larry, that water is going down. If you're listening, Larry, that water is dropping down. We're seeing that water drop down, okay? So if that water's dropping down, for that plane to maintain that elevation,
35,000 feet.
for that plane to maintain that elevation, it's going to have to drop down with that water we're watching drop down through the
Relative to 0 feet, the plane will always be at 35,000 feet.
Listening, if anybody out there listening wants to just think I'm a dumbass or whatever, okay, try for 1 second to apply a little common sense and say, they're telling us, these surveyors are telling us that they're looking out at the distance, seeing the water drop, okay? And that plane, and now Lale is telling me that the plane just, and Blue Marble Science would also say the plane just stays at an elevation. Hold on. If I'm seeing the water drop, then I'm going to have to see that plane drop. You understand me? You're not getting past this, buddy. If I see the water drop, I'm going to see that plane drop, okay, from my eye level, okay? So there's your problem. There's your proof, buddy. I rest my case.
Nope. Your eye level is seeing the plane at 35,000 feet.